Welcome, travelers, to my realm of nightmares. Allow me to be your personal assistant. Come in, take a seat, get comfortable. For when you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.
Hello, travelers. PA Nightmares here. I've noticed that over 30% of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So, if you're a new or a returning viewer and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you like what I do, liking the video and commenting as well, as it really helps push this video into the algorithm and it really does help the channel grow. Well, I've taken enough of your time. On to the main event. Hey guys, it's Nick from the last post. If you're wondering what Pete is, he's in the hospital. I visited him and he said he got his leg stabbed and broken by what he describes as some incredibly fucked up shit. Before I tell you all about it, I have to admit I was wrong about what I accused him of before. All it took was seeing another one of those monstrosities the next night after he let me stay at his place. In that instance, I saw what was known as a big mouth, which was a spherical spider-leg creature with a large mouth, as its name implies, full of razor-sharp teeth. I was outside getting some fresh air on Pete's porch when I saw the thing come out of the woods. I would have gone back inside, but my dumbass ended up blocking myself out. Given that Pete's house was covered in ruins, I thought I was safe. But webs are a thing, which it shot out of its mouth and used to pull me towards it. I didn't have any time to react. I struggled as the webs pulled me towards its open mouth, but it was no use. I thought I was a goner when a car came whizzing by, striking the creature's legs and taking them off. Its body hit the ground face first. Not wasting any time, I pulled my shit off, which the webs was attached to, and threw it at the creature. It kept moving like a turtle on its back that was trying to flip itself over. I actually found it somewhat amusing until it started rolling over towards me. I was going to make a run for it when the same car from before struck it again. This time, the person in question got out of his car. "Fucking deer think they own the place," he said to the now dead thing in the road in a heavily slurred voice. He gave it a swift kick at one of its eyes before getting back in his car. Then he drove off, hitting several wooden mailboxes going down the road. This place really needs to do something about its drunk driving problem. But seeing as how one saved me, I guess I shouldn't complain about them too much. Pete arrived shortly after, and seeing the thing on the road, and seeing me without a shirt, quickly figured out what happened. He unlocked the door for me, then proceeded to show me ways to defend myself against the creatures. He had a spare knife with runes on them. He was kind enough to let me have it. I asked him if he had another copy of the rune book, but it was the only one, and I thought it was too important to ask him about. I just settled on taking pictures of each individual page with my phone, which, as you can imagine, is tedious as hell. My car was fixed the next day, and still on a tight schedule to make it to my grandpa's funeral, had to head out straight from the mechanic shop. I already had everything I bought to Pete's house, so there was no need to go back there. Pete drove me to the mechanic shop and saw me off there. We exchanged numbers, and I told him I'd contact him after I was done with the funeral. I didn't feel comfortable giving too much details about the funeral, but I made it to it 3 days later, and while it was hard to get through, I was glad to see my grandpa off one last time. I called Pete after the funeral at the motel I was staying at. I asked him if he was safe, and he replied he was doing alright, but was annoyed by how busy work had been this week. We talked a little while about the funeral and the fact that Mrs. Formaggio's mother had suffered a heart attack. He told me that they were staying at her mother's to give her emotional support and wouldn't be back until Thursday. Then he asked me if I wanted to meet up with him in town on Friday afternoon when he was off work. As much as I like Pete, I didn't want to revisit a town surrounded by woods filled with dangerous creatures that can kill me, so he agreed he'd meet me outside of town where the creatures didn't show up. At least that was the original plan. I was driving up to our specified location on Friday when I heard one of my tires pop. Motherfucker, I screamed when I saw that my front right tire had run over a pile of rusty nails as well as a few glass bottles. Who did this? Who fucking did this? I yelled and punched my passenger side door out of sheer frustration. I wouldn't have minded so much if I had a spare tire to use, and if it didn't mean going back into that town, not seeing any other choices, I called a tow truck to come and get me. I arrived at town at about 6:30, and after hooking up my car, picking me up, I asked him if he happened to know Pete. The pizza man? Hell yeah. I have been to a lot of pizza places, but let me tell you, Formaggio's has some good shit. But Pete's in the hospital. What? Why? He had a run-in with one of those monsters today. I'll be sure to pay him a visit, Len. When you do, tell him Mike says hey. I'd visit him, but work is a bitch. I drove my car from the shop an hour later, then headed to the hospital. By the time I got there, it was almost night time. Pete was especially happy to see me again. Hey, he told me. Hey, I said back, then relayed the message to him that Mike gave me. Huh, I'll have to give him some free pizza. I still owe him from the favor he did for me last month. Said favor being? My battery died while I was running some errands last month, and I also forgot my wallet at home. But Mike gave me a free tow and lift. That was nice of him. By the way, what the hell happened to your leg? Pete's right leg was in a purple cast. Oh, that. I had to deliver to Carl's, the dude who owns the gun store in town. Crazy Carl? Yeah, him. I usually don't have any problems when delivering to him, but in that case, I had to drive up to his home since he was still feeling sick and couldn't run his shop. Honestly, he told us if we thought it was too dangerous to deliver to his place, we didn't have to. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have volunteered to do it. Carl's house is located pretty deep in the woods outside town. To be honest, the delivery was going fine until I went up to his door with the pizzas and soda, then rang the doorbell. I felt something hit my back, then yank me. The next thing I know, I was pinned by my leg upside down to a tree. What did it do? A tall motherfucker. I've actually never seen that kind of creature in person before, only in my book. It was the one with the two mouths for eyes. You mean the one where it had a second mouth in place of its eyes? Yep, that's the one. And two long-ass tongues that it used to pull me back. It pinned my leg to the tree, using one of its what you would describe as claws. Scythe-like? Yeah, let's go with that. It hurt like fuck, but I didn't want to scream, in fear that would attract more creatures. Did you have any weapons with you? I did, and I tried to pull one out, but the bastard knocked it out of my hand before I could use it. I was pretty sure I was gonna fucking die when it raised its other claw. Then I heard a small chink sound and saw it start to slump forward, which was not good for me, because man, did its breath stink. Ha, you got some good sense of humor for someone who was almost killed. What can I say? Laughter is the best medicine. So, as I was saying, I saw that an arrow that I figured had some runes carved into its head had been shot into the back of that tall motherfucker's skull. It turned to look at who shot it. When it did, I saw the top of its head get blown off. It fell to the ground, during which its claw slipped from my leg, and I fell as well. I ended up landing on my injured leg, which broke it as you can see. Carl rushed over to me, then brought me inside, and after bandaging up my leg as best he could and getting his pizza and soda off the ground, drove me to the hospital. He wanted to keep the pizzas that were on the ground? Yeah, but he said since they were still in the boxes, they were still good. Anyways, he drove me to the hospital. We arrived there at 3, and I've been here since. I'm happy that you survived, Pete. Same, goddammit. I have a ton of games and shows I've been meaning to try, and will not die before I get a chance to. But, can you do me a favor, Nick? I've actually been making posts on Reddit about my experience. I was supposed to do it today, but, well, you know. So you want me to do it? If it's not too much trouble. No problem. Thanks, and feel free to let them know how things have been going with you. I just might. That brings us to now. It's after 3:30 in the morning. As I'm posting this from my phone, Pete is falling asleep, and I'm about to head down to grab some food from the snack machine. Pete will probably be well enough to post to you guys again next week. I'm going to be honest, I don't certainly have a job or anything, and this town is starting to grow on me, despite its obvious hazards. Maybe it's just because of Pete, but I'm starting to like this place. Who knows? I might just stay for a little while after he's discharged from the hospital. This is Nick, signing out. I would like to thank tonight's author or authors for allowing me to use their works. If you enjoyed this, the authors' links will be in the description below. Please check them out and let them know PA sent you. Also, if you like to walk around representing my realm and gaining new travelers, the links to my merch store, my website, and all my other social medias will be in the description below. As always, I'd like to say a special thank you to all my lovely Patreons. All of their names will appear on screen. I'll make sure to put all their links in the description below so you guys can check them out as well if you'd like.
But as always, travelers, once you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.